So, it's my honor and privilege today to actually be able to talk to you about one of the principal drivers of really what makes such an amazing vehicle we have, and that's our compensation plan. So the first thing I want to do is ask, how many of you love Isagenix? How many of you believe, as I do, that we have the opportunity to be the largest health and wellness company in the world? And how many of you want to do everything you can to protect and preserve that opportunity? Yeah? Well, I'm going to talk to you as leaders right now because we are building something extraordinary. And the reality is that one of the things that I think sets Isagenix apart is because, our vision was a big vision, but it was really based on our experience also. I've been in part of this industry for almost 40 years now, and I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And, there's a lot of things that have tainted the name of network marketing, and deservedly so. You had, people that were unscrupulous because you could, in a sense, start a business without a lot of money. And, you could go out and make claims for things that basically, whether they were true or not, the fact is that if you didn't have any regulation associated with that people, ended up hurting other people. Whether it be they were selling inferior products or they were, promising people the world and asking people to invest a lot of money and recognizing that it probably wasn't going to be true for them. So one of the things I just want to share with all of you is the importance as leaders, if you really are, as we are, committed for this company and your opportunity for being everything it is, there is an element that we have to be aware of, and that's the regulatory environment. And so the thing is that what the regulatory environment really, rightly so, looks for is says their responsibility is to protect the consumer. And so that means you need to have products and product claims that are really supported by what you're saying about them. And of course, one of the products we have is our compensation plan. So it means that when you start talking about the income opportunity, that you also need to know that there are certain guidelines that you need to have that doesn't create this kind of concept of a get-rich-quick scheme. And Isagenix is not a get-rich-quick scheme. Now, you can get rich in Isagenix, but the reality is you're going to have to put some effort forward. So I don't know if it's up there on the screen, but we have our compliance and our legal team basically has developed kind of a disclaimer, if you will. And this is something that if you're going to be giving presentations in terms of large groups of people, or maybe even in your in-home presentation, it's okay to let people know the truth. And that is that this is an extraordinary opportunity that we're going to expose you to. But bottom line, some people are going to make a little money, some people are going to make a lot of money. And it will ultimately come down to, are you willing to put in the effort and the work in order to find where you want to enjoy your future? So what I would encourage you to do is actually print off this statement. We usually have it if you're having a hotel meeting or something. It's usually by the registration desk. We usually start our presentations with it. And we do it for a reason. It's really to protect all of you for the industry and the opportunity we have. I mean, do we have any regulators in the room right now? Anybody from the FTC or anything like that? The reason I ask that question is because a lot of times it could be that you will have an attorney general or someone from regulation in your audience. You never know. So if you're getting up there and you're making just outrageous claims and flashing checks and doing all kinds of stuff like that, what you're doing is you're creating an expectation that may not be real for everybody. So, thank gosh we have regulators because they help to protect the industry. But we as leaders also have a responsibility, not just to ourselves, but to everyone that is in the Isagenix family to not mess it up. So can I have your commitment that we're all going to do what we can to not mess it up? All right. Let's get on to the fun stuff. You all have a workbook, and actually there's a section in there on the compensation plan. And so I'm going to be going through our compensation plan. How many of you right now feel that if I was to sit you down and give you a test on the compensation plan, that you'd pass with 100% flying colors? Okay, a few hands. How many of you feel that you'd probably fail miserably? That's okay, because remember, I said this is a journey. I'm going to give you some background about the compensation plan and why it's so important. I mentioned that I've been in the industry almost 40 years, and I told a little bit of my story this morning. When I was tasked with developing a business plan for an alternative method of distribution, the first thing I did was study the industry. I went out there and studied all the mainline companies that existed. I happen to live in Northern California. That happened to be where a company, one of the foundation company called Shackley was situated. There was a company called Holiday Magic out there. There was a company called Neolife. And so I actually joined those companies, not to necessarily get actively involved in building a business, but to learn what I could about their compensation plan, to try and understand it. And then I joined Mary Kay, I joined Amway, and it was a great experience because what I did is I took all that information, and because I had the responsibility to craft a vehicle, if you will, that would hopefully benefit from what those companies' experience was, but to actually try and make it better. And so what I would say is what I'm about to share with you, our compensation plan. How many of you think our compensation plan is brilliant? Yeah. Well, I will just tell you it didn't happen by accident. It happened through experience. And as I mentioned, that experience started 30 years ago. And so even when I crafted my first compensation plan with the company that I mentioned went through the roof, we did things differently. It used to be that everybody ordered directly from the company, just the opposite. Only leaders ordered directly from the company. Some of you probably grew up in neighborhoods where you had the Shackley lady down the street schlepping product out of her garage, right? And so as I looked at the industry, I said, gosh, there's a lot of good people that could benefit from this industry that don't see themselves giving up their Sunday to schlep product out of their garage. And because of my background in mail order and used to distributing a lot of product, we said, well, let's let everybody order product from the company. Now, today, everybody does that, but I will just tell you, 30 years ago, they didn't. So that was kind of a paradigm shift. Now, what I also learned in that experience, even though we were the fastest growing company in American business history at that time. We grew as fast as Apple did, started the same year. And the reality is I saw that our compensation plan is, even though I did everything I did to make it as good as I could, that it didn't work for everybody. It worked for the superstars, but if you think about our philosophy, if it's not good for the associates, it's not good for the company ultimately. And yet, that compensation plan, if you look at the top, 40 companies in network marketing today, probably 37 of them are using that compensation plan. In fact, the compensation plan I created is currently being used by, I think it's the number 3 or 4 company. So you can't say, so it's worked, they're a multi-billion-dollar company, but I will just tell you that it's a dinosaur compared to what we have. Yeah, it is. I saw Kathy, it was called a stair-step breakaway. And think about that. You work to make people successful, and then they break away from you. That doesn't make a lot of sense. That's kind of a demotivator. And I saw people actually work to support their people and then get angry at their people because they were growing too fast and they knew they were going to break away from them, or angry at the company for having a plan that would allow that. I saw Kathy involved in other companies that only allowed you to pay X number of levels deep. And so as your organization matured, oftentimes you had extraordinary people, but they were outside of your pay line. Anybody ever participate in a program like that? And again, that's a demotivator. So, and I mentioned it earlier in my opening, to me, the most important thing, we're in a relationship business. And if you can create an opportunity for people and an incentive for people to work with the people who want to work wherever they are in your organization, then you can build an extraordinary team because you're never limiting yourself in terms of the possibility of the people that you're going to be exposed to. So as I go through the program that we've created with you today, I'm not going to go through with a lot of hype and excitement, but I'm going to try and point out for you why we did some of the things we did in order for you to understand how powerful this really is. And I'm also going to share another concept with you, and that what I saw in the industry is people were constantly changing their compensation plan. And if there's anything that's a demotivator, is to be out there following the rules and then having someone change the rules on you, right? Because if I heard it was Chris or Susan or others talking about, gosh, if you're in sales and you're starting to get successful, all of a sudden they make it, let's cut your territory or let's move the quota. And so what I saw, because most people in network marketing in this profession are part-time. They're not all full-time. And so if you start changing things, guess what? You start creating confusion. And in my experience, if people are confused, they stop working until they're unconfused. Or they just get mad and go away. So what we wanted to do was to say, when we created this compensation plan for Isagenix, we wanted to create something that we didn't have to change. And I'm proud to say in 13 years now that we have not had to change our compensation plan. And we're not planning to change our plan. No. Now, has it evolved? Yes. We've added more money. Which, how many of you would say adding more money is a motivator rather than a demotivator? Yeah. So we're going to go through this. I would encourage you to make some notes. If there is, as Chris shared earlier, one of the things that's great is that our plan actually allows you to get paid 4 ways: daily pay, weekly pay, monthly pay, and annual pay. I will tell you, the majority of companies out there today, particularly the top 40 I was talking about, they pay monthly. How many of you like the concept of being paid daily, weekly, monthly, and annually? Yeah. Because you're in business for yourself, and cash flow means a lot. So to be able to have a program that can allow people who are making the decision to get in to know that they can get their products paid for before their credit card even shows up, that's a good thing. The other thing is we have multiple ways to make money depending on where your comfort level is. Some people are very comfortable retailing. We have lots of professionals in our program that are moving product out of their offices or out of their practices, and so that represents an opportunity. We have what we call a product introduction bonus, which I'll be talking about in more detail. Team bonuses, which is where the real money is. Matching team bonuses, and of course, our promotions are really icing on the cake. But the goal of a compensation plan should be to ultimately reward people for the type of behavior that you want them to be engaged in. So it's not an exercise in futility, it's an exercise in growth. And so the thing that we've tried to do in creating our plan is to really have a framework. If you see our promotions, they're all geared at reinforcing those behaviors that are meaningful. So let's start here. There's a few basic terms that most people need to understand. BV, do you all know what BV is? Do you like BV? Well, BV, again, what it is it's a point system that we attach to products that we pay commissions on. And the BV generally is about 70% of what the actual dollar value of products are. We've tried to create a kind of a constant, but recognizing that some products have higher profit margins, some have lower profit margins. And so as a company, rather than being able to say, well, we're going to give 100% BV on everything, but in order to do that, we're going to have to compromise the integrity of the product, well, that doesn't make sense, does it? If you're a no-compromise company. So that's the reason we have a point system. PV is basically the point value that we give to purchases that you're making personally from your website. So if you're an associate or a member and you go in and buy products yourself from your website or through the phone, that's personal volume. And the reason that's important, you'll see, is because in order to really advance in the plan, you want to become what we call as active. And what's it take to become active in Isagenix? 100 points that you're generating, and fortunately, we have a computer that keeps track of all this for you. So whenever you make a purchase, your initial purchase as an example, the clock starts. And as long as you have accumulated at least 100 points in that calendar, or not the calendar, in that 30-day period, you're active. And you'll see why active is so important. Now, AutoShip. How many of you are on AutoShip? Yeah, right. One of the reasons you're on AutoShip is, would you agree that there's benefits to be on AutoShip? Yeah. All right. Would you agree that most people would like to save money on their product? And so if there's a benefit that you can save more by being on AutoShip, that's a good thing. So would you agree that by being on AutoShip, that if it allows you to participate in all the promotions that we have, that's a good thing? Yeah? Would you agree that as your organization starts to grow, at whatever rate you're moving, as long as you're personally active, that the company is going to allow you to accumulate all that volume wherever it occurs in your organization, regardless of depth, by just being on AutoShip with at least 100 points a month? Is that a good thing? I mean, I've seen companies, some of you have probably been in companies where they have outrageous, requirements in order to not only get to the level, but even to maintain that level. So, as you'll see, AutoShip is really the glue that holds this company together. And I'll just tell you how powerful it is. Our AutoShip sales last month were over, I think it was 46 million. Now, is that a good thing? I'm getting goosebumps again. So how many of you can't wait to go to your back office every morning to see how much money you've made while you were sleeping last night? Yeah. Because our AutoShips run, those automatic orders are triggered usually between midnight and 8 a.m. in the morning. So that's the reason, all that volume is starting to accumulate. There's 5 ranks in Isagenix. There's associate, consultant, manager, crystal manager, director, and finally executive. And we'll be talking about each of those. Let's start with associate. An associate basically is someone, as soon as you open an account, someone has introduced you to Isagenix. And I want you to get used to this terminology about opening an account versus let me sponsor you. A lot of times we start talking in language that our friends don't understand. It's foreign to them. But how many of you have ever opened an account yourself, whether it be with a department store or a gas station or a credit card company? People are used to opening accounts. And so if you were introducing someone to Isagenix and say, the first thing we need to do is let's allow you to do what I did, and that's let me show you all the benefits you can enjoy. So the first step is you have to open an account with the company. Once you open an account, what the company does is it establishes a business center for you, and you basically are known as an associate. Now, we allow you to open an account if you just would prefer to be a customer. That's fine, but we're going to show you the benefits of why you would want to be an associate. So if you are an associate, your goal, again, is to be active, correct? So ideally, that means that you're an associate, ideally on AutoShip, and you're purchasing at least 100 points in a 30-day period. The first benefit for you being an associate is you can buy products at wholesale. How many of you would rather be able to buy products at wholesale than pay retail? So that's an immediate benefit as to why you would want to open an account with Isagenix. Now, another benefit is if you want to actually share the products, not just use them for your own personal use, you can enjoy retail profit. So if you buy product and actually make that product available to your friends, and if they choose to say, look, I don't want to become an associate, let me just buy the product, then you're perfectly entitled to enjoy a retail profit associated with that sale. Because obviously you've had to use your credit card to get that product. You've had to, pay the freight, and now you're redistributing it. Retail profits are really the foundation of what this business is based on. The other thing is, if you send people to your website, because the other thing is when you become an associate, we give you your own website. And someone mentioned earlier, we've spent probably $40 million developing that website. So you have a tool. How many of you love our website? Yeah. But how many of you have ever sent somebody your website or had somebody go to your website, buy product, and all of a sudden we send you the profit, and we use the company's credit card and processing to handle all of that. There's a small handling fee, but we ship the product out to them, and we actually give you the profit associated with that. One thing you might not be aware of is that product purchased by your retail customer actually qualifies as personal volume. So even if someone says, well, I can't do the business because I can't afford to commit to do X number of points every month personally, well, guess what? Can you agree to at least get one new person started as a retail customer every month? Because they could actually qualify you to still be active in the program. So that's how personal volume works. You understand that? Okay. How many of for you that was kind of something new? You didn't understand? Good. All right. Product introduction bonus. What we call it PIB. What a product introduction bonus is it's an incentive to reward you for not sponsoring someone or enrolling someone. It's illegal to actually give commissions for just the simple act of sponsoring someone. What it is it's a commission we give you for their initial product purchase. So if they purchase a President's Pack, we pay a product introduction bonus on that. And as an example, you all understand what a product introduction bonus is. And so, for example, on a President's Pack, that basically is $80. On a getting started pack, like our 30-day, that's $25. And for how many of you, that was the first check that you got from Isagenix? Yeah, almost everybody. Now, the reality is you don't have to be a consultant in order to earn a product introduction bonus. Because, that's, for most people, that's the first check they're going to earn. How many of you think getting paid twice as much is better than, earning just, say, the 25 if you could earn 50? Okay, so we created a promotion, and what we said is if on certain packs, not on every pack, but on certain packs, you could actually double the amount of product introduction bonus you earn. And the criteria is really that, one, you're on auto ship, because to participate in any of the promotions, you've got to be on auto ship. But secondarily, the incentive is for you to do 2 enrollments in a given week, running Sunday to Sunday. And why would we do that? Why would we give an incentive, double the incentive, for people to take action quickly rather than do it over a long period of time? What's that? Momentum. Would you agree that a new customer, if they have a way of getting their products paid for, is a good thing? So if you can actually not only earn a product introduction bonus yourself, but you can show your people how they can earn a product introduction bonus immediately, and in fact, they can even double the amount of product introduction bonus quickly, then that creates the type of duplication that we're really looking for. So that's, again, part of the thinking behind the type of promotions we put in place. So these are some of the packs that they're available on. Who's eligible? You have to be active and you have to be on auto ship. And here's how it works. So let's take a calendar week. Our week runs from Sunday midnight until the following Sunday midnight. And for example, this is showing that if I purchased on Friday a President's Pack, I'm eligible for an $80 PIB on that new person who joined my team with a President's Pack. The next example is showing, well, let's say here's a week that on, let's say, Tuesday, someone purchases a President's Pack. I've got all the way till Sunday of that next week to double the amount, not just on the second person, but we actually double it on the entire, all those that occurred in that same week. So you could have 5 PIBs that you've earned in a given week, and we're going to double every one of them. Everybody go, ooh. Yeah, you should. How many of you have earned a double PIB? Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to have someone later in the training show you how to put this all together in a way, in a powerful way to present it. But you'll see, I'm just sharing with you the structure behind and the philosophy behind why we do it. Your goal, obviously, is to become a consultant. And your goal for everybody you introduce to the program is to help them become a consultant. And a consultant is you plus 2. It means you find 2 people who basically use the products with at least 100 points, and you've personally enrolled them. And we've given an incentive for you to do that. We call it a rank advancement bonus. So there's an immediate incentive for you to build your left team and your right team. Now, you can bring people in and you can put them all on one team. Some people have done that. But everybody, God gave us 2 legs, right? So a left leg and a right leg. So think about it that way. When you've heard our company talked about being a binary, if you really think about it, the whole world runs on kind of a binary system. I mean, anybody IT, computer people in this room? I mean, all computer programs are written on kind of, a binary system. And so binary system is kind of like almost, you could say, fundamental to mathematics and everything else. But what's great about our program is, unlike many programs of others in our profession where you have to build multiple legs, we deliberately limited it to 2. Because if you can manage 2 people more effectively than you can manage 100 people. So, here's how it works. Here's the way you build with a binary. You personally want to not only enroll one person on your left team and right team, but every time you enroll someone different personally, you want to put them on either your left team or your right team on that outside leg. So what you'll see, and I'm sure if you've gone into your back office, there's an opportunity to put people other places on the left team or right team. But what I'm sharing with you is what you want to do is always put people on your outside legs, usually where you think you need the strength, but teach your people to do the same thing. So it's you plus 2, them plus 2. What I want to, and I don't have a pointer to show, so you're going to have to kind of walk along with me here. The people that are shown on this are in orange, that you've personally enrolled. The people in blue that you see up there are people that are enrolled by someone you've personally enrolled. But what I love about our binary plan, and this was my aha moment that I thought really reinforced the concept of teamwork. If I sponsor someone, let's say that bottom person on the left-hand side there that you've personally enrolled, would you agree that if they purchase product, that it benefits that person in blue immediately above them? And that it benefits the person immediately above that individual, as well as you? So would you also agree that there's an incentive for everybody on that team to be invested in that person, that new person that just came in to be successful? Because every time they purchase, guess what? You didn't sponsor them, but you're still getting the benefit from them. And what I want you to understand as leaders, one of the simple principles of this is it doesn't mean that you have to do everything for your people, but you have an incentive now to mobilize your team in that person being successful. So let's say you're very good at recruiting, but you have someone you personally enrolled who doesn't have the confidence you do. Is just kind of putting their toe in the water. But let's say they've lost 30 pounds. They've had a great success with the product. And you introduce someone and you bring them in and say, Mary, I'm calling because I've got Paul on the phone. And Paul has just joined our team. And I was just telling you about your success. I'm going to support Paul because Paul has a goal to lose 45 pounds. Would you be willing to support Paul? Can you see the magic in that? You've taken someone who is operating in their comfort zone and allowed them to play a role in someone on their team's success. So that should be an aha moment for you in terms of the power. Don't fall into the trap thinking that you've got to do everything for everybody. Because I'll tell you right now, there's going to be a point where you'll burn out. And there's a point where I've seen it in people's teams. I could never do what you do or I don't want to do what you do because, it looks like you're burning the candle at both ends. So the more that as you're presenting people with our opportunity, that they can see that there's a plan in place, that they could say, hey, I can do that. That's a winning proposition. So the nice thing about the way you introduce the plan is always keep in mind that, the way you're introducing someone, if they get involved, that's the way they're going to be introducing people. And fortunately, we've created the tools. I'm going to move on. And this is really the magic of our plan. And we call it a team bonus because we want to reinforce building teams. But the way it works is as your organization grows, through your personal efforts and through the members of your team, that as long as you're active, and active is what, 100 points? And as long as you're a consultant, you have one person on your left and one person on your right that you've personally enrolled that's doing at least 100, you're eligible as a consultant to earn what we call team bonuses. And the beauty of this is that all those points that are being accumulated are being banked on the computer. And so that as soon as you have accumulated 600 points on one side, 300 points on the other, and it doesn't matter which side they are, the computer just looks at it, says, okay, you've generated a cycle. And a cycle right now, for 900 points, if you divide that by $54, which, that's what a cycle is right now, 54 plus change, it actually equates to about 6% of activity on that program. Is that a good thing? All right. Here's an even better thing. Once we pay a cycle, any volume that is still left over, we allow you to hold. Yeah. I will tell you that Kathy, and the first program of this type that Kathy got involved in, they used to actually reset her volume every night. So no matter how much volume she had, it was like the next morning she was starting from scratch. So again, I was the observer saying, that doesn't work for the associate. So, is there a way that we can make this work? Now, how many of you have ever had people, maybe yourself, have thought, how can the company afford to pay all that money? They're allowing all these people to bank their volume. How can they do that? There's only 100 cents in the dollar, and if you're paying out 6%, 6%, 6%, haven't you exhausted where don't you come to the point where the company can't afford to do it? Have you ever had that thought or someone asked you that question? Well, let me give you kind of an analogy you can use for someone. How many of you own insurance? On your car, on your house, whatever, on your life? How many of you would agree that life insurance are some of the most successful businesses in the world? Well, life insurance operates on this concept of they call it actuarial tables. So what they say is when you buy insurance, you pay a premium, right? We all pay premiums. And the reality is you have those premiums and you have that insurance in the eventuality that you can make a claim, whether it be you had a fire, that insurance company is now going to pay you, or someone passed away, that insurance company now has to pay out. Well, the reality is insurance companies collect all that money, but they don't pay it all out on a single transaction. They pay it out as claims are made. So those of you that are building organizations, building teams, just because someone has ordered volume in your organization that triggers a cycle for you, it doesn't mean that everybody in your team is making a claim at the same time, because they have different points. And so when I created this plan, I was smart enough, because I didn't want to change our compensation plan. I went to insurance actuarials and said, look, I'm putting together this plan. I want to know that as this plan matures, that I'm not going to have to change it. That I can have confidence that I can have a predictable payout over time, that is going to allow this company to have stability and allow our associates to have stability in their plan. So, does that help? Okay, so you can all rest at night. And the key to that, I will tell you, because there's other companies that have tried binaries who didn't go through that exercise, and they have what's called cycle creep. And it means that all of a sudden the cycle value, rather than being $54, is now this week is worth $24. Well, that's kind of a demotivator, wouldn't you say? So again, we haven't changed our cycle value, and I mean, it's been within pennies for about 5 years now. How many of you love that? Because it's stability. Okay, manager, our next position, you plus 2, them plus 2. What it means is that you've personally enrolled 2 people, and you've helped those people to also become associates. Now, let's face it, you may enroll a lot of people who are just going to be happy to be a customer. Some of you, anybody in this room felt frustrated because, hey, I've enrolled 5 people and nobody's really doing the business, right? Guess what? Our company statistics are 85% of the people who enroll in Isagenix never enroll anybody else. So that means that you could talk to 10 people, sponsor 10 people, and if only 2 said yes, that's the average. So the lesson here is you're probably going to have to talk to a lot of people, and in the process you're going to develop a lot of customers, which are good things, but some of those people, don't get frustrated as everybody doesn't want to do the business. Just start to learn about what am I looking for, what are the teammates I'm looking for, what is my why strong enough to want to draw them in where they can see their own why being satisfied by Isagenix. But if you have you plus 2, them plus 2, you're a manager. And the great thing about that is that if you do that within your first 30 days, the company, again, trying to give you an incentive for taking action quickly, will actually give you a $250 Crystal Manager bonus. How many of you have ever earned one of those? Congratulations. So that's the manager position. The other thing is we give you because you've helped people become consultants, for those people that you've personally enrolled who have become managers, we also give you a consultant bonus, another $100. And we do that for up to 20 people that you'll bring into the business. Now, one of the reasons we have all of this, what we call front-end money, is to allow you to have bridge income to not only get your products paid for, but to start earning enough where you can really see yourself staying in the game long enough to have accumulated enough people where your cycles start to become the real residual income. And that has been a huge shift for this company because, we see people who aren't pleased with their job, or maybe they're not pleased with the company that they were involved in. And it's a scary thing to think I'm going to have to give up my income. But if you can actually show people, let me sit down with you and show you a pathway. If you want to earn $1,000 this month, I'll show you exactly how to do that by just getting involved, you plus 2, them plus 2. And again, you're going to see that over the course of this weekend. So, director is the second management position. How many directors we have in the room? Stand up, make some noise. I want to see one hand. We got more than that. All right, fabulous. How many of you would like to be a director? All right. How many of you would like to have a $750 bonus associated with becoming a director? Well, everybody who comes into Isagenix has an opportunity to earn these rank advancement bonuses, but we give a special incentive to do it in a short time frame. So for manager, it's 30 days. For director, it's 90 days from your enrollment date. But we just, at Celebration, introduced what we called a Crystal Director Reset. So for all of you that are not yet directors, you ought to be leaving this meeting, if you haven't already set a goal for yourself, is you want to be a director by December 7th or before, because no matter what your start date was, we'll pay you that $750 bonus. Yeah? Okay. You got to love this company. So this is the time frame again. Who's going for Crystal Director? All right. All right, Executive. Yeah. Let me see all the executives in the room. All right. Congratulations. What's an executive? It's a person that is personally enrolled, a minimum of 10 personally enrolled consultants. In other words, you plus 2, 10 times. Now, because we want to create stability in your organization, we don't want you to put it all on one leg. We want to create an opportunity that you can have that is duplicatable for other people. Because some of you perhaps are part of anybody here have a runaway leg? You know, it's kind of like, my gosh, I got all this volume in one side, and I just can't get anything going over here. Well, the reality was, let's say you're fortunate enough to be in something like that. We don't want you to spend all your energy just putting over here, because that may be good to earn team bonus cycles, but it's not good for building a long-term residual income, because we want you to build, some balance in your team. So that's the reason we have the criteria of 5 on the left, 5 on the right. And if you do it within your first 6 months of your join date, we give you an extra incentive of $1,000. Is that a good thing? So how many of you have seen this in your workbook or back office or use this? Be thinking, start to put your business builder hat on. You all have customers, but I want you to start thinking about, who is it that you want to really team up with? Start thinking about the people that could really complement your business, the people that you have respect for, friends that you have, relationships that you have, maybe people you associate with in your neighborhood. Maybe it could be the waiter that gives you incredible service and just goes out of their way because they're so connected with people, that you could say, I could really use that person on my team. Start to think about that and start to use these and you sit down with a new associate. How many of you have used a new associate interview? Okay, I'm sure it's going to be shared this weekend. But that is so powerful to actually sit down with someone that's just joined you in the business and find out what their goals are. What do they want to achieve? And you can now show them how they can do that. So if someone sits down, to me, the most powerful advantage that we have in Isagenix, and I've never seen it in another company, is that if you have someone that says, I want to make X, that we have a plan using you plus 2, them plus 2, where you can sit down and say, let me show you exactly a game plan that can achieve that, whether it be 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, wherever your time frame is. Do you think that's powerful? Yeah. All right. So why would you want to be an executive? All those people that you've personally enrolled, not only are they accumulating volume for you as part of the normal team bonus opportunity, but how would you like to also get a 10% match on whatever team bonus they earn? Yeah. So, wouldn't you have loved to have sponsored the Susan's Lie? Well, the fact is there's Susan's Lies out there waiting for you to talk to. And the reality is that again, this is like an extra incentive on top of it to encourage you to not only find good people, but not to find them and hope that they make it happen, to give you an incentive to work with them to help them be successful. So rather than other plans that has those people breaking away from you, guess what? Now you have an opportunity to earn and continue to earn on their success. Yeah. This is kind of just an overview of all the bonuses that you can earn as rank advancement bonuses, just, getting up to the, what we call the crystal executive position, and if you are using the consultants and so forth. But as an executive, you also have the potential of, as soon as you are an executive and generate 10 cycles in a week, you become a 1-star, and we give you an extra $1,000 on top of those cycles. When you're a 2-star, you get an extra $2,000, and a 3-star, an extra $3,000. Is that good? Or is that good? Here's I would say, one of the most dynamic elements of our plan. And it's called an executive reentry. And when I went to these experts to assist me with kind of calculating the payout as we matured, I asked them, I said, what are some of the things that could prevent cycle creep? And what they said was, well, you need to have more legs to the company. In other words, if you can actually, rather than the company just having, let's say, 2 or 3 legs, or if you get to a certain point where you see that happening, if you go out and create additional legs, well, what you do is you actually help control your payout. And so I thought, the last thing I want to do is ever be in competition with our field. Because let's say you're working on someone to sponsor, and they would say, well, I'd love to sponsor you, but I heard the company is actually looking to create some more legs. So I think I'd rather go with the company. And have anybody in this room ever been with a company that actually was willing to do that, or actually recruited somebody that you had been working on? I'll just tell you, it's a real downer, and it's a real integrity issue. So what we said is, look, let's create an opportunity that can help preserve the cycle value for everybody, but also reward those extraordinary leaders. So rather than them feeling, okay, I've maxed out my earning potential, let me now, go into retirement. No, let's give you an extraordinary incentive to go out and build another leg. So rather than the company have to do it, we're going to give you the incentive. And so we call that kind of the platinum position. How many of you love the fact that you can earn up to 250 cycles a week, which is $13,500, by building 2 legs? Okay, once you hit that, again, not only do you qualify for all that benefit ongoing from your team, but we allow you to have a reentry, apply for a reentry, and now you just have to build 1 additional leg, because we allow you to continue to count everything you've already built as one of your, what we call your major volume leg. So think about this. Now for every 300 points that comes into your new leg, you're earning a cycle. So that means you're earning 18%. Yeah, wow. I will just tell you, once you really get that and you've set your goals, you won't sleep nights. I mean, Kathy, I saw her work her tail off in other companies to build an organization only to see either some of it break away from her or diluted to where she was likely making 1% on her organization. So, and I think we have 85 people in Isagenix right now who have achieved the platinum position, meaning they are on reentries. So for those of you, and what I want you to know, those people are your partners. How many of you in this room have thought, I feel more comfortable talking about the products than I do talking about the compensation plan? Right. Either because you didn't understand it, or you were afraid of that question that someone was going to ask, well, how much money are you making? Any of you ever had that fear? Because for a lot of you, I mean, everybody starts off, they're not making a lot of money. But the thing is that not everybody in this room has had to lose 100 pounds to be successful in sharing this product, right? But you have the belief, because you know that this product has worked for people. And so one of the things I think that's powerful if you're talking to someone, it's learning, what do you say to people? People say, well, what are you doing? Hey, I'm working with a team of people that's showing people how to retire within 3 to 5 years. Would you be interested in hearing about it? So, again, you're working with a team. Well, how much money are you making? Well, I'm just getting started, but let me introduce you to some of my team members. Let me put you on a 3-way, or let me invite you to an event, and I'll show you the power of the people we're working with. And we're looking for people like you. I'm getting goosebumps again, you guys. Okay, how many of you have ever earned a holiday bonus? All right, what this is as soon as you move into management, in other words, as soon as you're at the manager position, the director position, or the executive position, as an incentive, what we did is about 2 years ago, we said, well, at Christmas time, a lot of people are feeling stretched. Anybody ever feel stretched at Christmas time? It's just like, I'd like to do something for my family and others, but gosh, there's just not the money to do the things that I'd like. And we said, you know, what if we could give an incentive for people to remain as and continue to move up the ranks that would give them that nice prize at November so they would have that extra money to spend on their family or friends or maybe even pay their mortgage, whatever the case may be. So we have a holiday bonus, and the way it works is you earn shares for every month that you are at this position. You have to, in order to qualify for those shares, it can't be, well, I made it once, but to earn additional shares, you want to be able to remain at that position or a higher position, and you want to personally enroll at least 3 new associates per quarter. So is it reasonable, if you want to build a growing business, that you can talk to at least 3 new people who need one of our solutions and bring them into your team? You bet. So again, we're trying to give the incentives for the people who are willing to do the work. What are you worth? Have you asked yourself or written that down? Well, here's kind of interesting. It shows that a school teacher is, you know, they could replace their income if you could show them a plan where they could get to 10 cycles a week. You know? Yeah. A dental hygienist. Kathy was a dental hygienist. I remember she first asked me she said, gosh, I'll do this, but I'd just like to make an extra $1,000 a month in my own income. Could I do that? And then I showed her a slide on how she could get a pathway. Well, here's how she could make $33,000 a month. And that's when she said, well, can I do that? And I said, no, you can do more. So you can see, I mean, President Obama, he's going to be out of a job in a few years, so, you know, we're going to show him. I mean, someone's going to need to talk to him, right? So this shows you the type of opportunity that is available with Isagenix. So there is no limit on the income that you can enjoy. So the 250 cycles I was talking about, that was $702,000 a year. I'll never forget, I was down in Puerto Rico one time with Jimmy Smith. And we said, Jimmy said, let's go shopping. So we went out shopping, and he was looking at a Rolex watch. And one of the shopkeepers was saying, gosh, you know, he says, well, how much is this? And she goes, well, it's X. And he says, oh, that's, 74 cycles or something like that. And she goes, and then he asked that one, how much is that one? Well, that one's this. Well, that's 105 cycles. And so the gal says, what do you do? And he said, I'm a professional cyclist. He said, I cycle every day. I cycle in my sleep. You know, would you like to learn how to become a professional cyclist? But that's how powerful this program is. Again, we calculate daily, we pay weekly. How many of you love Monday mornings? Right. Now, in order for us to do our internal audits, we pay 1 week in arrears. So basically, you know, if you've just started your first check, we have to issue the credit card that we're going to be paying you on, and that's, you know, or the ISO wallet, whatever method we've selected in your jurisdiction. So that's how the program works. And again, it's 12 midnight Eastern time to 12 midnight Eastern time the following week. So if you have people in Australia, you know, their week actually ends on Saturday or on Monday because they're a day ahead of us. So wherever time zone you're in, I'm sure some of you have been. We always see it's a race at the end of on Sundays. I can remember one of the reasons I was an advocate for weekly pay is because we had a company that used to do 80% of its volume in the last 3 days of the month. And that's a nightmare. Well, number one, the anxiety, you're thinking, are we going to make payroll this month because nobody's ordered yet? They're all waiting till the last minute. Or am I going to need, you know, I don't need staff for 27 days, but boy, I need, 10 times the staff for those last 3 days. So that's one of the reasons we wanted to create weekly pay. And also, we knew the importance of cash flow. All right. So in summary, how many of you love our plan? Here's how simple it is. Remember I said we had a simple business? So the keys to maximizing our program is you need to be active and on auto ship. Your goal is to build consultants, you plus two, and do it over and over again. And this is the most important one, teach your team to do the same, because that's where the real power comes from this program. So I just want to say that for me personally, part of the real pleasure I've had is seeing it work. Seeing that people have not only caught the vision, but seeing that the plan really is rewarding people and compensating them at the level that they are comfortable in. So there's people in this room right now that are setting your goals. Some of you want to do it fast. Some of you are going to be comfortable in doing it at your own pace, and that's okay. It's okay to know that you have a plan that really is fair, that it doesn't penalize you because you want to move at your own pace. But I will just tell you, and I would encourage you, it's a lot more fun to grow quickly than it is to grow slowly. And again, because you set the example for your team in terms of what's possible.